I know work stories have been most of my catalog as of late, but it's for good reason. Because my worst experiences I've had in life have been at work. Relatable? You with me? Okay, let's do this. Working with, let's just call them
Barry.
Like, even though that was his name, let's call all of them Barry. Just a bunch of Barrys. The unfortunate thing about working in a place with a group of people is the people. Now, this doesn't mean there aren't some amazing people to meet, but the unfortunate part about life is the worst ones are typically those that you remember most because of that bitter taste in your mouth they leave with every experience. Okay, and for the third time mentioning ever, I used to work at a grocery store. And I had several managers who were just not right, man. I'll go through each, but the consistent theme is they're all Barry. I hope you get what I mean. Do you get what I mean when I say they like to pick their fruits early? They had a white truck, no candy. They liked 80s movies.
I am the child predator.
Okay, now moving on because you get the point. Oh yeah, Barry number one. I had a pretty late awakening to the whole, holy shit, people are weird, because it took getting my first job. Now, this guy was consistently weird, awkward to be around, and I didn't want to keep conversation with him for too long because it always took some sort of creepy curve from this perv wanting to talk about women with me. And look, I know I'm not the type of person who's good at these sort of assumptions, but I thought he was gay. Look, say what you want, but I couldn't buy it. This guy seems super gay to me. Eggs after 11 gay. Like, him asking me about girls felt like he was more asking me questions for himself, like to adopt into his personality or something. And by the way, at this point, I'm 16. You gotta be at least 40. So do you think I'm talking about other teenagers my age when this uncle grandpa looking ass is trying to get insider info? Fuck no! Now, with these managers, we're like assistant managers. No shit, idiot. Which typically just rotated every few months because people would quit or leave for school, like I did. Sometimes they became managers. I mean, not really, but maybe this next part is why. Because you see, for the most part, these assistants were women. I don't know if this was on purpose in the hiring process, but it just always seemed like most of them while I worked there were just girls. They were cool. I didn't talk to them much because I just wanted to do my job and go home. And you know, management sucks. Anyways, there was this one that I can say was admittedly perhaps on the prettier, but not necessarily younger side. I mean, compared to these dudes, fuck yeah, way too young. But like mid-20s, which seemed much older to me being 16. But anyways, for Creepy Barry number one, she was the whistleblower. Stuff he would do was make creepy comments, ask similar weirdo questions. But like everyone else did, people would just let it slide. Whatever, he's a weirdo, but he signs my checks. I'm gonna just keep my distance. And that was the way it was. But what we didn't know was that he was actually being touchy creepy as well as talky creepy. But he wasn't as touchy with her until this one day when they were working closing together some random weekend. And I guess he tried to make his move, which would be the wrong move to make, because she immediately went, nope, and started asking around. What we all found out the next day was that he was very touchy with every single girl that worked there. But most of the girls also thought he was gay. So it was just like a thing they accepted, even though he was old as hell. And he took the touchiness a bit too far with her. So she got all her evidence and snitched. And obviously, good thing she did. The only thing that sucked was that the schedules were like really ass after he left. I mean, he was really good at his job, unfortunately. There's not much of a happy ending here because he kept his job. But due to the complaints from a bunch of employees, they just moved him over from one branch to another. So almost like nothing happened. He was just replaced by some other guy pretty quickly. And I ended up quitting there like only a few months later. But in the meantime of those 2 months, we were given someone who only got the job because he was a nephew of one of the owner guys. And before people hated Nepo babies with a passion like now, this was just having good connections. And similar to some others who just aren't as good as the role they got, this guy sucked at doing his job. And with all fairness, he did pick up a shitty hand, but he still played it the worst he could have. Not to mention the bigger issue, this guy loved to take photos of people.
But I am a bit of a shutterbug.
Okay, that's all okay.
I don't know why or what he used them for, I can imagine, but I remember it started with one occasion where someone, her name was Leslie, but bro left the flash on, so she thought that flash was maybe from a picture being taken. A few days later, she was proven correct because he kept doing it. And by the time I was no longer there, he was honestly on his way out too. But hey, at least he wasn't this next guy, because last but not least, Joe. Okay, so Joe wasn't like these other guys, in which I mean wasn't just the fact that he was a creep, but because he was like a huge racist. Yeah, you didn't need to fit a skin tone either. It just depended on where you were from. I also don't mean in like a joking way or a just slightly out of bounds sort of way, but just straight up hateful. Always made comments and hated younger people. But he wasn't even like crazy old. But you know, racism is taught and learned. And he was only an assistant manager. He was actually pretty nice to me at first until he said something behind my back and was there only for my first few months at the job. But apparently before I came to work there, he had been there for like 17 years. Now, how did he get fired?
What a fucking...
Yup, dead ass. But anyways, guys, those were the 3 worst people in managerial positions I have ever worked with in my life so far that I can mention. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Very sorry for the break. I intend on jumping right back into uploads. I really truly appreciate you, but please subscribe if you're new. Thanks again. Goodbye.